Hi everyone, and welcome to English for You. I'm Pat.
And I'm Laura.
And today we're going to be looking at a piece of news about something that happened in Europe. Our title is Transgender Politician Makes History in Europe. So we're going to be talking about gender issues today. We've seen the headline, so maybe we should kind of explain a bit about the area we're talking about.
That's right. Well, this is actually quite serious that we're talking about. But nowadays, we're trying to respect all kinds of different people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. And I think this is a little bit difficult, so I'm going to explain some things in Chinese a little bit.
Great idea.
没错，其实因为今天的主题会谈到一些就是比较难一点的字哦，像是或是大家比较不陌生的字哦，就是性别平权这类的议题，我们通常英文就会有LGBTQ plus 来统称非传统性别认同的这个社群哦。那其中的 T 刚刚我们有提到的，它就是代表着 transgender， 就是跨性别者。那通常这个跨性别者，因为他们的外形啊，还有这个既定的这个性别的刻板印象，可能常常在这个就业当中或是日常生活当中的层面会碰到各种困难。So yeah, that's true. Maybe at work or in everyday lives, they might be probably get some stereotypes or from other people. Yeah, people might find them very different.
Yeah, I mean, Taiwan is coming around because obviously in Taiwan's government we have Audrey Tang, who is transgender and is open about it, and she's doing a great job. She uses
I love her so much.
Okay, so let's find out about this transgender politician in Europe and read through the article.
Reading. Transgender politician makes history in Europe. The mistaken belief that transgender people are different from everyone else is common in many societies. Therefore, Petra de Sutter is a big win for transgender people everywhere. She has just become one of Belgium's 7 deputy prime ministers. That makes her the most senior and openly trans politician in Europe. De Sutter is a professor of gynecology at Ghent University. Since 2014, she has also been elected to important political positions. In these roles, she has greatly helped the progress of LGBTQ+ rights and gender equality. After she was chosen for her new position, De Sutter made an interesting Twitter post. She said that she is proud that a person's gender identity does not define who they are as a person in Belgium. She hopes that her position brings about discussions on transgender equality in countries where this hasn't happened yet. The government of Belgium has been forward-thinking in choosing a transgender person to serve in a high-level office. Hopefully, this attitude toward transgender people can spread to other parts of the world too.
So the article starts by saying the mistaken belief that transgender people are different from everyone else is common in many societies. So our article starts by talking about a wrong idea people have and uses a noun clause to explain what a particular belief, idea, or something like that is. Here it's explaining a belief, while we could also say something like, I was scared by the thought that I might find a rat living in my house one day.
Ooh, I would be scared too. 好啦，一开始我们就看到，哇，我们课文第一句就出现我们的文法重点哦，就是常常我们会用 the belief or the news or the fact that。OK， 然后后面再接一个子句哦。这里的 that 可以引导名词子句当作同位语，对其所修饰的先行词加以补充说明。OK， 那刚刚已经提到非常常见的先行词有 fact、idea、news、belief 等等哦。 那我们来看到课文他提到的就是他把 that 子句当作主词同位语的用法。The mistaken belief that transgender people are different from everyone else is common in many societies. 意思就是一般容易被误解的想法，就是 the mistaken belief。然后是什么呢？就是 that 后面的子句，就是跨性别者和大家都不一样，这是在很多的社会当中这样子的偏见啊，或是错误偏见是非常普遍的。OK， 另外呢 that 子句也可以当受词同位语，比方像是 I heard the news that an earthquake might hit this Sunday， 就是我听到新闻，什么新闻呢？也就是这星期日会有地震哦。
Okay, so yeah, many people, many societies might think transgender people are different, but as the article says, therefore, Petra de Sutter is a big win for transgender people everywhere.Nice,
OK, 我们来看一下 big win. OK, 在这里指的是大赢或是大胜利，常常我们其实是用在运动赛事，不过我们课文今天是用来描述 Petra de Sutter, OK, 当上副总理对跨性别者来说，哇，是一大胜利哦。Now, who is Petra de Sutter? The article says she has just become one of Belgium's 7 deputy prime ministers. Wow.
Pretty cool. So Belgium is a small country in northwestern Europe. It's between France and the Netherlands and on the coast just across from England.
Nice. Belgium 是哪里呢？就是比利时啦 and I love Belgian beer.
It's pretty good. And we see De Sutter is one of the deputy prime ministers of the country. A prime minister is the leader of the government and the most important politician in a country that has a king, queen or emperor. Therefore, the UK has a prime minister, not a president. Belgium has a king, so it has a prime minister too.
OK. Prime Minister 是谁呢？就是首相，又或者它有总理的意思哦，它是个名词。Now, Australia, where I grew up, also has a Prime Minister and not a president. OK. But what's a deputy?
Well, a deputy is someone who can take over when the main person is busy. They help out with things. It's a bit like the vice president in the US or in Taiwan. Now, it seems Belgium has 7 deputy prime ministers, so maybe they all have slightly different responsibilities.
对啊，比利时有7个诶。OK, 7个什么呢？我们来看一下，他提到的是Deputy Prime Ministers， 其中的Prime Minister 我们刚刚已经有提到了，就是总理。可是 Deputy 通常我们在这个职务的名称当中都会看到它是有副手或者是代理人这样的意思哦，所以Deputy Prime Minister 就是副总理这样子的意思咯。那其实平常我们在很多工作的职称，像是 The Deputy Director 就是有副主任的意思啦，或是 The Deputy Editor 就是我们的副编辑。
Next, the article says that makes her the most senior and openly trans politician in Europe. A politician is someone who is involved in the government of a country or in the opposition parties to that government. They are in one of the main government groups, like the Senate or the House of Representatives in the US, or the Legislative Yuan in Taiwan. So we might say something like, many people don't trust politicians and think they only say what people want to hear in order to get elected.OK,
我们来看一下哦，其实这里有提到的，就是 openly trans politician。这里的 trans 当然就是刚刚我们前面已经提到的 transgender 的缩写，那搭配前面的 openly，OK， 在课文当中指的是公开跨性别的政治人物。没错，政治人物也要来学一下，就是politician 哦，它是个名词，不过常常呢，我们也会用到它的形容词，就是 political OK，political。OK， 那提到了 politician， 其实常常我们都会提到他是什么 ？A clever and ambitious politician， 非常就是有聪明啊、机智的啊，或者是非常有企图心这样子的一个政治人物，或者是可能我们要赞美说，哇，他是一个非常人气啊，大家都非常喜欢的政治人物，就可以说 He or she is the most popular politician in the country。So
back to the article, and we see that De Sutter is a professor of gynecology at Ghent University. Gynecology is the study of diseases and medicine that affects women's reproductive systems.
没错 ，gynecology 就是妇科，OK， 然后它是一个名词，所以这里要補充一下哦，就是呢，在踏入政壇之前呢 ，De Sutter 他的是这个 University of Ghent，is that how you say it？ 就是根特大学妇产科学系的教授哦 ，professor。那他的专长其实是人工生殖，并且掌管根特大学的人工生殖部门。
Here's more about De Sutter. The article says, since 2014, she has also been elected to important political positions. To elect someone is to choose for them to be your representative in government or some other group. You elect someone to fight for you and make sure your rights are looked after when a government makes a decision.We generally elect people who we think are honest, trustworthy, and so on. We also elect people because they have the same political or general beliefs as us, or just because they're members of the party we support. So we could say at the end of 2019, Tsai Ing-wen was elected president of Taiwan for the second time.
哇，所以其实呢，这个 De Sutter 他在自从2014年的时候，他就已经被选为担任非常重要的政治的就是职务哦。我们来看一下，其中提到了这个单字 elect 这个动词，就是选举啦，或者是有推选这样子的意思哦。比方像是 The president is elected for a 4-year term of office， 就是总统任期4年，或者呢，我们也可以常用 elect as， 然后后面接一个名词 ，OK， 就是他的职称、职位。比方像是 We elected him as our representative， 意思就是我们选他当作代表。而常常呢，我们会用到 elect 的名词，就是 election， 就是选举啦。它的拼法是 E-L-E-C-T-I-O-N。Right.
So De Sutter has had several different political positions, and we see that in these roles, she has greatly helped the progress of LGBTQ+ rights and gender equality. Equality is the idea that everyone should be treated in the same way, no matter who they are or what their background is.Gender equality is making sure that men, women, transgender people, and everyone else has the same rights and is treated in the same way as everyone else, which sadly isn't always the case. Making sure men and women get the same pay for the same job is one thing involved in gender equality, but there are lots of other things too. Here's an example sentence that comes from Taiwan.Students at a Taiwanese high school fought for gender equality and said that boys should be allowed to wear skirts too.Yeah,
I heard about that. 我觉得这个很棒哦。我们来看一下刚刚课文有提到的 equality 这个名词，就是平等啦、相等的意思。像是我们常会提倡男女平等，就是 equality between men and women。OK， 或者说我们种族 OK 也是要非常的平等，这样子的意思就是 racial equality。所以看回课文哦，提到的就是 De Sutter， 因为他担任非常重要的政治人物，所以他常年其实是有致力推动性别平等哦，并且其实他经常会公开分享自己作为一个跨性别女性的一些生命经验哦，所以我觉得这是非常好的，因为毕竟我们刚刚在课文一开始就有提到 transgenders 就是跨性别者，他们真的常常是在尤其是在职场上或者是在日常生活当中会碰到很多的不同的困难或是一些刻板印象的偏见。
Here's more about what has happened since De Sutter became one of the deputy prime ministers. The article says, after she was chosen for her new position, De Sutter made an interesting Twitter post.
Yes, we see that the article says she said that she's proud that a person's gender identity does not define who they are as a person in Belgium.
Which is great. Your identity is the person that you are. It's the fact of being whatever you happen to be, with all the different characteristics and all the other things that make you, you. Gender identity is whether you are male or female, gay or straight, transgender, or anything else at all. It's what you feel you are, rather than what anyone else tells you that you are. We can also talk about identity when we need to prove who we are to a police officer, or when we want to prove we've booked a room or a ticket. Passports show our identity, and most people in Taiwan have their own ID card to show their identity. So we could say, this company will hire anyone who can do the job, no matter what their background or gender identity happens to be.
没错，一般我们提到 identity 就是有身份的意思嘛，像是我们常常就要秀出我们的 ID cards， 就是什么呢？我们的身份证来表示我们的身份。不过本课是有着身份认同，所以 gender identity 指的就是性别认同这样的意思哦。那如果要造句用 identity， 我想到的是这个就是认同感哦 ，sense of identity. I think my job gives me a sense of identity. 我觉得我的工作给了我一种认同感。那刚刚呢，我们有提到了这一句当中哦，他说she said that she's proud that a person's gender identity does not define who they are as a person in Belgium. 这里有没有发现它是用 who they 就是可以指性别没有确定时，然后作为第三人称的单数代名词，所以它可以是代表 she 或者是 he。那刚刚我们还看到哦，所以其实这个 De Sutter she made an interesting Twitter post, OK? 她的在推特有表示说呢，她是十分骄傲在比利时以及大部分的欧洲国家哦，因为她说你的性别认同不会定义你是谁，而且它更不是个问题哦。Now, is this all De Sutter said in her Twitter post?
No, we also see that she said she hopes that her position brings about discussions on transgender equality in countries where this hasn't happened yet. The phrasal verb bring about means to cause or to make happen.
OK, 我懂了。这里的 bring about something 就是有引起哦，所以其实在他的推特上面，他又提到了说，我希望我成为大臣以及副总理，能够让其他还不是如此的国家展开讨论，就是这里的 brings about discussions. OK.并且呢，他同时还有做一个标注，就是 hashtag fight transphobia， 这个我觉得还蛮有趣哦，就是战胜跨性别恐惧。I like that hashtag.
Good hashtag. So in the next paragraph of the article, we see that the government of Belgium has been forward-thinking in choosing a transgender person to serve in a high-level office.Forward-thinking means you're not always doing things like people did in the past or thinking in traditional ways. You're being more modern, more accepting of changes. Another word we could use here is progressive, P-R-O-G-R-E-S-S-I-V-E, progressive.
真的，我们看到这个 De Sutter， 因为他成为欧洲政坛哦，现在是目前位阶最高的跨性别的政治人物，这也真的让我们见识到这个比利时的政府，他们真的是非常怎么样 forward thinking 这个字呢是复合形容词，就有着思想前卫的这样子的意思哦。
Today's article finishes by saying, hopefully this attitude toward transgender people can spread to other parts of the world too. The word attitude is the way you feel and openly behave toward a particular person or thing. If you have a positive attitude toward something, you think it'll go well. If you have a negative attitude toward it, you don't. If you have a suspicious attitude towards that thing, you're not sure about it and you're concerned it will hurt you or affect you badly or that it's not true. So we've said Belgium has a forward-thinking attitude. So its way of thinking and behaving is look to the future, be modern, don't get stuck in the old ways. Here's another example sentence. Howard has a lazy attitude toward his studies, so he seldom gets good grades.
OK， 我们来看一下 attitude 这个字哦，它是一个名词，就是态度啦，或者是看法。比方像是 The people have a very positive attitude to life。OK， 当我们用 good or positive attitude， 就是好的或者是正面的一个态度或是一个看法哦，或者我们常常会说，大众的一些看法是什么什么，我们就会用到public attitudes or people's attitudes。 比方像是现在呢，我也觉得就是人们越来越改观了哦，他们开始可以包容不同的性别啦，或者是族群。Public attitudes have changed，我就可以这么一说。And De Sutter hopes Belgium's attitude will spread.
That's right. To spread means to go outward from a central point and affect and change the things all around you.And to keep moving further outward. Think about a stone thrown into a pond. There'll be movement of the water where the stone hits it, and this movement will spread out from there until lots of water is moving a bit. So here, the stone is Belgium's forward-thinking attitude, spreading out to other countries to make them more accepting of trans people.Here's another example. This kind of music was only popular in the US at first, but it's spread around the world and now people listen to it everywhere.
我觉得刚刚 Pat 比喻的很好，就很像我们丢一个小石头在池塘里会产生涟漪啊。我们希望呢，就是看到这样子的一个，就是比利时的他们的政府啊，选了一个这么棒的跨性别的政治人物，或许他可以把这样子一个不同的一个态度更加扩散出来，希望其他国家也可以跟进哦。那这里我们有提到 spread 来代表扩展或者是蔓延的意思，它是一个动词。比方像是呢 The fire spread very rapidly because of the strong wind， 就是风很大，火速迅速蔓延开来。当然常常 spread 也有不好的意思，像是 spread gossip or spread rumors， 就是散播谣言。
All right, and that is the end of the article, so let's go to today's For You Chat
question.For you chat.
So our question is, do you believe every person should be treated equally? Why or why not?
For sure. Yes, I agree. Because I think no matter what race or gender you are, I think people shouldn't, judge you because of your sex or your gender
or anything really.
Yeah, you are who you are.
I would say yes, everybody should start being treated equally.
Yeah.
I would say that you could lose that right. For example, if you are a criminal who does lots of bad things, you actually lose that right. In some parts of the US, criminals will lose the right to vote. And if you've made one mistake, sure, you can come back from that and change who you are. But if you're a repeated criminal, I think, you lose the right to live and work. You go to jail and spend your life there. So I think what it comes down to is not being judged by what you are, whether man, woman, gay, whatever, but what you do.
Exactly.
And therefore, if you do bad things, you may lose some rights. So, judge people by their actions, not by just who they happen to be or where they're from.
Totally agree. 100%.
And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for listening, everyone. For English For You, I'm Pat.
And I'm Laura.
Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Transgender politician makes history in Europe. The mistaken belief that transgender people are different from everyone else is common in many societies. Therefore, Petra de Sutter is a big win for transgender people everywhere. She has just become one of Belgium's 7 deputy prime ministers. That makes her the most senior and openly trans politician in Europe. De Sutter is a professor of gynecology at Ghent University. Since 2014, she has also been elected to important political positions. In these roles, she has greatly helped the progress of LGBTQ+ rights and gender equality. After she was chosen for her new position, De Sutter made an interesting Twitter post. She said that she is proud that a person's gender identity does not define who they are as a person in Belgium. She hopes that her position brings about discussions on transgender equality in countries where this hasn't happened yet. The government of Belgium has been forward-thinking in choosing a transgender person to serve in a high-level office. Hopefully, this attitude toward transgender people can spread to other parts of the world too.
Vocabulary Review.
Politician. The politician promised that she would do her best to make the city a better place. Elect. Joe Biden was elected to be the president in the U.S. in 2020. Equality. It is important to achieve social equality for all people. Identity. Even though Steve lives in Taiwan, he keeps his American identity by continuing to follow some American traditions. Attitude. At first, Paul didn't have a good attitude about the new rules at work, but he finally got used to them. Spread. COVID-19 started in China, but it has spread all over the world.
智慧小补帖
Deputy. Prime Minister. Gynecology.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作。活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net